Welcome to Apocalypse World Second Edition. Just
Oh
came
boy.
out. I believe this is the first time for any of us. So, breaking all our
Uh,
cherries live on cam,
Oh baby.
which makes sense for this game. It does. Apocalypse World really about the badassery, the deep shit you get into, and if you want to get a little freaky after dark, that's there for you. So today's going to be all about making our world. What is it? Who are we? What is our place in it? And moving from there. Character generation is going to go by pretty quick. It's not going to be too difficult for you. It's a little more difficult for me. So this first session is really going to be about getting to know your characters, taking some time, kind of following them around for a day, get an idea who these people are, what they're doing, what is their place in this world, and kind of move forward from there. So hopefully you guys have had some time to think about Apocalypse like shit, kind of what you really think could be interesting for a game, what's going to be some things you want to do, some things you don't want to do. And where we're going to start today is let's build the world. Let's get an idea of the world that we inhabit so that we can figure out what kind of characters make sense to play in it. So, and you guys have any ideas like what does the place we look like? What do you have a region? Do you want it to be based off of a real place in this on this world? I think that's the easiest way is to kind of think of a cool place that's it's real and then figure out what the hell happened to it. What does it look like now? So if you got ideas, start tossing them out and let's discuss.
Chinatown.
Chinatown where, champ? Chinatown everywhere? Just all of
Yep,
the
everywhere.
Chinatowns?
They all
All of
merged
them?
into one.
So China. Got it. I was thinking like Rio. It's already kind of horrible. So, I mean, it's not going to suffer too much.
You wanna play? You want us to be based in South America, or
It'll
is
be
that
like
just
the
the kind of
Olympics.
feel?
I like the ideas of like the big cities that have kind of fallen, but there's still big buildings and lots of and it's still like a huge city, but it's not just kind of falling apart. It's not completely horribly falling to pieces, but
Okay,
getting
so
there.
you want like more metro kind of stuff, close quarters, all of that.
That would be cool. I still
Yeah,
want to be
that
able to
sounds
like
good.
have enough room to drive around if we had cars or something, but still most of the time probably walking around fighting bad guys or whatever. I don't know how it works.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, what are you thinking? How populated is this place still? Is there, is it really the small? You have like really close knit families where it's your mom, dad, brother, sister, maybe an uncle, and then a few close friends. Are we talking like full buildings full of a huge community? Um,
I'm thinking it's more, you know, there's a few big buildings and people have flocked in from all around trying to find a place for shelter, and they just all kind of crammed into big buildings. And then there's like lots of little makeshift houses around the bases. It's kind of like Judge Dredd, like the mega cities.
so it's still very like pretty populated. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so I mean let's talk about what this are we thinking kind of close to a Fallout feel where it's urban. Something happened where technology stopped and then people are in the process of rebooting. Is it the people have technology is no longer growing, it hit an endpoint, and people are just now just trying to survive. There's really no pushes forward for improvement. Are people reverting back? Is there something causing people to not be pushing backward, but to try to hold on because they're going in reverse? There's so much inner war or something happening where species is becoming to fall away.
Anybody else?
I kind of like the Fallout kind of esque area where it's like technology is more advanced than what we currently have, but it's also kind of stopped as far as going forward.
That sounds good to me. What about you,
Hawk,
Hawk?
you've been quiet. Toss out some of your ideas.
Well, I'm kind of down with the. I mean, post-apocalypse. There's so many different things we could do. I mean, I guess really even more so than like what our setting is. Maybe we should to help lean us towards that. Get a hold of like I don't know what's left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because big cities. Yeah, I mean, like especially first world, second world cities. They're steel, cement, all that kind of stuff. But that stuff does eventually break down. How long have we been around? I mean, are we
like, I don't want to.
Here's one.
If we, yeah.
And let's answer this. So Hawk, what major resource is missing or super hard to get? Like, is it impossible to get water? Is oxygen, something that's being tapped in? Are grains or, security, warmth, cool?
I think. Well, I mean, some of that stuff goes with the others.
Yeah.
I think probably the biggest, though. I mean, classic apocalypse dystopian feel is, I think water is rare. I just think it is because at least clean water, drinkable, potable water. Because if you have water, everything else kind of falls into line.
Yeah, and then you've got these big, like, settlements that control a river that they can maybe purify so much water.
Yeah, I mean that's
whatever, and that's where you go to trade and all that.
Well, I mean that's kind of the whole thing is that the apocalypse is all about the breakdown of modern society as we know it, and then the refounding of new societies. And just like in traditional civilizations, people got to drink, and if people can drink, then everything else kind of comes in, because if you've got water for people to drink, then you've got water to grow plants, and if you've got water to grow plants, then you've got food to feed people. If you've got food to feed people, then you've got food to feed animals, and if you've got food to feed animals, then you've got animals that you can eat.
So
also,
I mean,
you can trade and.
How dire is this? Is this something where the climate is so dry that if you're out and about, if you don't have some kind of way to hydrate, you're dead within a couple days? Like, it's that urgent? Are there like 2 or 3 major communities that have water to give away, but the track there and the ability to get it on your own is virtually impossible? Or is it, like you can find other ways of hydrating, but it's not as good for you as water? Like, maybe it's causing some kind of bodily harm, maybe it's something that is addictive, but you're still able to kind of push through.
Well, I think that's just it. I think water as water is rare. I think the communities that have communities that I don't know have a deep well or live near a reservoir or another free-flowing body of water. I think bodies of water as we know it don't exist anymore. I don't think that there's really.
Well, is
and
it
the ones
that don't exist, or like, say for the ocean, for example, has something happened? It's already not drinkable, but has maybe something has happened where now most of the water has turned to salt water, or has there been a change in kind of the biology of the world that unless you do something very specific to the water, it's too toxic for you to drink on its own.
I think I personally am kind of the opinion that whatever happened broke down the environment in such a way that it basically, I think actually having a lot of the water salinated is great. I mean, that makes,
there's no natural filters.
There's either salinated or it's like in the case of like say like the Great Lakes, it's just pooched. It's like it's there, but it's like sludge and it's so polluted and harmful that it would take more to process it than it would to make it clean than it's worth when you could just go, it's easier to move a couple 100 miles that way where there's a source of clean water than it is to try to process this stuff into clean water. And then the rest of it's just like salinated. I mean, and that would also give us the wonderful like blasted feel, because I mean if the world lost most of its topsoil and it eroded or blew away, it'd be like the Dust Bowl, and I mean, and then your alkali content goes up and you get salination everywhere, and water that was good to drink suddenly is not good to drink.
Are there still oceans? Or are they like receded so far back you can't even?
Oh, I think they've. I would think that the oceans. They're still. Oh, sorry. It's because of my stupid boom. I would say that I would personally think that the oceans have receded such a great.
Like they're still there, but now they're like lake size instead of ocean size type thing.
Well, it's more like if you're on a continent, the continental shelves as we know them. Like the sea has receded in most places. It's receded back to beyond the continental shelves, so that so just like the deepest parts, like islands still exist, but because some of the islands are in some fairly deep water.
Hawaii is now a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
can actually
water
see
like
that
the Marianas Trench, and then that's about it, pretty much type thing. All right.
Well, and I would imagine that with that, new islands have formed with the lack of the coolant of the ocean. Volcanic eruptions would have caused land masses to begin to spread, which went then with the increased soot and the CO going into the atmosphere. It's like this cycle where you guys are almost heading towards a complete water destruction worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the apocalypse hasn't ended. It's like you knew it started.
Yeah.
Some of the older people may have remembered back in the day, but nobody's quite clear when it happened, what happened exactly.
And we're not seeing an end to it.
Yeah.
So if like we're going with the complete like destruction of the water, like it's all undrinkable, could it be like, I don't know, like a super volcano went off at some point in the past?
Nobody
like,
quite knows. I mean, that's the thing.
what's it
Like
called?
it happened so long ago that we just know what the world is now. Nobody's exactly sure what happened. It's possible. There's something in this game called the psychic maelstrom. You're not exactly sure what it is. It's something just outside of your perception. But if you open your mind, you're able to kind of tap into this additional resource of knowledge and information. It's not always, it can absolutely harm you, but it is kind of out there. If you think of some movies where people just have the intuition of kind of knowing what to do, where they're able to kind of slow down time. The psychic maelstrom is kind of that, where it's a weird source of energy, knowledge, information that everyone can tap into. Some people, like the brainer, for example, have a stronger source to it, but there is a little bit of strange here. So let's talk about that. Like, how strange have we gone? Have we gone barbarian, where there's tons of just crazy people? Are we still fairly social and have a social structure? Or has everything just gone to shit and people have gone back to the basics of, I need food, water, and shelter. I don't care about anything else. Like, I'm no longer worried about knowledge. I'm no longer worried about, you know, the safety of others.
I'd like to think the farther you get away from these social centers where the waters are and all that, the more like depraved people get. Like because they don't have easy access to, you know, clean water or food, and so they're way out here on the outskirts, uh, robbing and killing and doing whatever they please. Because they can't make it into town at this point because they're just too far gone, type thing.
Okay.
Like we still have inside the cities. It's still like, you know, there might be one guy in charge, kind of telling you, oh, these people have to work here and there or whatever. But it's still some kind of order.
Yeah.
Not everybody might accept it, but it's still some kind of order. And then the farther you get out, it's like, well, you know, I don't have to listen to this guy, so I'm just going to shoot you and take whatever you have.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, because the larger communities will still have the ability to get produce. They're able to get good, healthy meat. They're able to really do the things that keep you healthy. But as you go outside, you're going to have to start looking for alternatives, which, you know, who knows what that could be. It could be something, like I said, that maybe it's an addictive kind of thing. Maybe it's a psychology kind of thing. Maybe it is eating unhealthy meat, which is turning you, you know, into something else. What kind of stuff do you not want to see in this game? Is there anything in particular? One thing to touch base on: every single class has what's called a special move. It basically it's a move that occurs when your character actively engages in sexual relations with another player character. They have different benefits per class. It's something that it's really up to us. If we want to use them, they can be used. If we don't, they don't. The only thing is that it has to be willing on both sides. There's no forceful engagement that would allow that move to go through. So beyond that, is there anything you don't want to see in the game? No creepy clown posses coming and trying to cut your head off, or, you know, pterodactyls, or, you know,
the weirder the better, in my opinion. I mean, not like
Cockring.
weird fucking dinosaurs or whatever, but, you know, maybe mutated lizards or some crap like Fallout. I don't really have a limit on whatever. It's up to everybody else.
Hawk, Phazon, what do you guys think? I mean, we can keep this more based in reality, where again, there's going to be a few things that are focused on like the psychic maelstrom, or maybe there is something that has changed within the biology of humans. Like the further you go outside, maybe it is that a specific I don't know, feeling, mood, sense of time or space. I know other games have focused on things of like memory, any of that kind of stuff as well, which could change the personalities of the world.
I
I
say
don't
as
know.
far as like weird stuff, I probably go like 100%. I don't really understand the whole like if you have sex with somebody you get a special move thing. That just is that like just within our party, or is that like I can just go
Yes.
out and
No,
grab
it has to
somebody?
be, in order for that move to take place, it has to be between two player characters. It has to be it's we're not gonna actively do the move. It's pretty much you have a conversation, and if in the fiction drives everything. If it makes sense for the two player characters, you know, to go off and have sex, you know, we fade to black, we do that scene, and then we move forward, and you get whatever that bonus is. It's not something that's going to be used very often, but it is a unique thing. I mean, Apocalypse World is dark, it's gritty, it's full of sex, it's full of blood, it's full of gore. It is very much a hardcore game. Shit has gone to shit, and it's going to continue going to shit. There is no good in Apocalypse World.
There are shades of gray.
Exactly.
Most of the bonuses, anyways, are just like +1 forwards for most things.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I mean, if we're not comfortable having that in our game, they're not required to be in our game. If it's something we want to leave in there for an option, then we leave them in the option. If we need to touch it when we touch it, whatever. It's just something to be aware of for the game. And again,
Yeah,
it has to be
probably.
willing on the both sides.
All right, Spoon, I'm taking you behind the shed now.
The main thing, again, just like Dungeon World, I ask you guys to realize that these are, play your characters like they are characters. Don't focus on, I want my character to survive, I want my character to do this. Focus on, this is a real person doing real things. What would they do in the situation? I will do the same with my NPCs. These are real people doing real things. I'm here to make your character lives exciting, fun, dangerous, challenging, just make it a fun game. So as long as we work together with that, should be just fine. Well, I guess, we can keep building our world as we go along. So depending on the kind of classes we take, that will possibly push us in a certain direction. There'll be more questions I have to ask, based off of what we select here. So let me pull this up.
So part of what I'm getting the feeling of is that there are places in the world where other people, like large civilization centers, where other people are in control. Those places are accessible, but our characters don't have any stake in those. Our characters have stake
Not
in
necessarily.
other things.
There
we can have little
are
outlining
classes
villages.
in here, like the Hard Holder and the Maestro D, that they could absolutely, your hold could absolutely be one of those sources. It's always possible that you're taken over, that someone tries to outrank you. Those are all things that could occur. But yeah, that's one of those classes that you definitely could. So if you guys want to follow along, cool. I'm just going to run through just some quick details about every class. If you go into the playbook, you'll see the name itself. That's going to be kind of your starting information. The advanced shows things like gear, extra moves, that. So starting off, you have the Angel. The Angel's your typical medic. If you want everybody to love you, or at least rely on you, play an Angel. Warning, if things are going well, maybe nobody will rely on you. Make interesting relationships so that you'll stay relevant, or sabotage things if you want. So again, medics are going to be the ones that are rushing in to help you heal, make sure you're all better. The Battle Babe. The Battle Babes are good in battle, of course, but they're wicked social too. If you want to play somebody that's dangerous and provocative, play a Battle Babe. Warning, you might find out that you're better at making trouble than getting out of it. If you want to play the baddest ass, play a Gunlugger instead. Battle Babe's really about, I want the intention. Like, I can kick your ass and I want you to know it. I can stop a situation with just a look. I will make shit go crazy, but I really won't know how to stop it. Like, they're really good at starting fires, but they don't know where the fire extinguisher is. The Brainer, they're weird. These are the ones that really tap into the weird and spooky aspect. Their moves are powerful but strange. If you want everybody else to be at least a little bit afraid of you, a Brainer is a good choice. Warning, you'll be happy anyway, but you'll be happiest if you find somebody that wants to have sex with you, even though you're a Brainer. Angle for that if you can. They lack social aspect. They really like to mess with other people's brains. Like, they can actually make puppets by just touching someone. They can force commands on others. They can do some weird stuff by kind of getting their hands in your brain and playing you like a fiddle. The Chopper. Choppers lead biker gangs. Doesn't have to be biker. Whenever it gives vehicle specifics, it's relevant to the world you're playing in. So if we don't have bikes, we have, other things. Again, you have an idea. They're powerful, but lots of their power is external in their gang. If you want weight to throw around, play a chopper. But if you want to be really in charge, play a hard holder instead. Warning, externalizing your power means drama. Expect drama. They are the typical, leather wearing badass of, I've got guys that will back me up no matter what. I'm gonna tell them to go fuck up your shit. You better listen to me. So you think like Sons of Anarchy, just hardcore whiskey drinking, cigarette smoking badasses, and most of their power comes from the people that follow with them. That power can absolutely break down if you're not really doing what your gang wants you to do. The driver. The driver has a car, again, relative to our place, meaning mobility, freedom, and places to go. If you can't see the post-apocalypse without cars, you've got to be a driver. Warning, your loose ties can accidentally keep you out of the action. Commit to other characters to stay in play. You're always going to be, moving when you're the driver. And if you're in a situation where you're not really needed, you're going to want to have some kind of relationship with someone else to make sure you're doing something else other than just standing by your vehicle waiting to be used. The hardholder. Hardholders are landlords, warlords, governors of their own little strongholds. If anybody plays a hardholder, the game's going to have a serious and immobile home base. If you want to be the one who owns it, it better be you. Warning, don't be a hardholder unless you want the burdens. You're going to be the one that runs this place. So you're going to have to deal with the drama. You're going to have to deal with the people that don't pay their bills. You're going to have to deal with the people trying to take over your place, the sabotage, and just the general upkeep of this place. So especially if you're planning to do a more mobile thing where you're not going to be around one area for a long time, it might be difficult to do unless you really set up that hierarchy within the staff that you have there. The Hocus, very similar to a hardholder, but they have cult followers. The way choppers have gangs, they're strange, social, public, and compelling. If you want to sway mobs, play a Hocus. Warning, things are going to come looking for you. Being a cult leader means having to deal with your fucking cult. Like, again, depending on what kind of cult you're leading, they could have some strange requests. You're going to have people that don't like you, people that do, all that kind of drama that comes along with it. The Maestro D. The Maestro D runs a social establishment, like a bar, a drug den, or a bardello. If you want to be sexier than a hardholder with fewer obligations and less shit to deal with, play a Maestro D. Warning, fewer obligations and less shit, not none and none. So you're still going to have to deal with some stuff. In fact, it could be more dangerous depending on the kind of place you're running. But it's not going to be as tied down, as restrictive as a hardholder might be. The Savvy Head. Savvy Head are techies. They have really cool abilities in the form of their workspace and a couple of fun reality bending moves. Play a Savvy Head if you want to be powerful and useful as an ally, but maybe not the leader yourself. Warning, your workspace depends on resources and a lot of them, so make friends with everyone you can. If you want to be able to just like make crazy shit, fix up stuff on the fly, do all of that tech related stuff, play a Savvy Head. The Skinner is just pure hot. They're entirely social and they have great directly manipulative moves. Play a Skinner if you want to be unignorable. Warning, Skinners have the tools, but unlike hardholders, choppers, and hocuses, they don't have a steady influx of motivation. You'll have the most fun if you can roll your own. If you want to be able to control people, but do it in kind of your own way, if you want to still be the center of attention, the Skinner's going to be something that you want to look at. We have a few other ones. These are kind of advanced classes. So you have the Faceless. Is it true everywhere? Always? Was it true the golden age of legend was when life was kind? For certain, it's true here in Apocalypse World. Some of us were born and grow up and live without faces. We have things on the front of our heads, of course, but they're soft, malleable, expressive, revealing things they aren't our faces. Our faces would be hard, ungiving, silent, and stern. They would be what we are. They would never flinch. You want to be someone that's really not known, someone that wears a mask and tries to hide their identity. Faceless is something you want to do. The Water Bearer. Every once in a while, there's a place worth being, even in the apocalypse. And if you're just in that place, sometimes you wind up becoming more than what you were. You're not about gasping, thirsty mess of the world. You're not afraid of the howling wolves, and you could give a damn about what October wants or who T-Bone is fucking. You have the source, and it can quench any thirst they have. The Water Bearer is kind of the controller of a key source. Like they could be the one that has, you know, a sacred pool of water. They have laws and rules that if you're gonna be there and you're part of their community, you better follow these laws. We're not the ones that make it, but we are the ones that enforce it. The laws could be severe, they could not be severe. Quarantine. It's possible when the golden age of legend fell that no one saw it coming. It's possible that it came upon them and unprepared and unsuspecting. Maybe, like we, were simply fucked. It's also possible that they knew. The quarantine. Just gonna pull up their shit real quick. Looks like the quarantine has the ability to really pull together. They're always looking to be part of a fight. They're able to do like inflict specific kind of harm. They want to make sure that they're not leaving anyone behind. But they're gonna be a good combat character. They have an idea possibly of how the world ended, or at least where they were. They're able to recall kind of the steps that they took on how they were able to survive, or how humans have been able to survive. So it's possible. Actually, with this one, you were in stasis for the past 50 years, so you have the knowledge of what history or what the world was like when the apocalypse hit. So the things that you're finding now might be new or old. They're at least strange, dangerous, and unclear. And then you have the child thing. The child thing is a creature of sorts. They're humans, but they are more animalistic. They came from possibly being raised in the wild, living on their own, being raised in the town of just children. They don't have the morals, the knowledge, the strength of a human, but they're crazy, they're feisty, they're dangerous. They are quick and agile and able to follow scents and kind of play into the weird aspect of the world. They're out there. So if you want something that's a little strange, it's a little scary, look into the child thing. So take a little time, look into each class, see what the moves are, see if it's something you have any interest in, and let's discuss. If you have anything that's sounding interesting, you know, go ahead and lead the way.
I would really like the sound of the Faceless class.
Everywhere.
All right. Faceless. Alright, I'm just pulling it up real quick. So if you go to the Faceless Advance, on the right side is where it shows the creating a Faceless. So how we're going to go through the character creation is we're going to start off doing basic things like get an idea of what does your character look like. Your looks play a pretty hardcore part of this game. One of the stats is hot, and it's literally how attractive are you, whether through just your looks, the way you speak, the things you do, or the things you own. How attractive are you to the world? All of them have names, looks, and then when you go through, you want to pick your certain stats, all of that. Every character will have the history, the hex. It's very similar to bonds in Dungeon World, where you will pick a character. We'll go around after we've done character creation, and you will pick character that you have history with. History is one of the ways that we level up. So let's real quick, let's go through the different stats of the game so that you have an idea of what kind of stuff each character might be really good at. So if you go to the handouts, there is a pop-out for the stats option. So we have cool, meaning cool under fire, rational, clear thinking, calm, calculating, unfazed. You roll plus cool to do something under fire. So whether you're having bullets whiz over your head. You have a gun pressed to your temple. The building itself is on fire. When you're able to close your eyes, take a deep breath, think, and rationalize the situation, you're being cool. Hard, meaning hard-hearted, violent, aggressive, strong-willed, mean, physically and emotionally strong, real hard to go aggro on someone. Are you just a badass? Do you have zero fucks in the world? Are you just, shoot me, I don't care, I'm gonna come rip your head off? Then you're gonna be hard. You're not gonna have the emotion and caring towards others. Hot, meaning fucking hot, attractive, subtle, gracious, sexy, beautiful, inspiring, exciting. You roll plus you're hot when you want to seduce or manipulate someone. Are you attractive because of the way you look, the things you own, what you wear? Then you're hot. Sharp, meaning sharp-witted, clever, alert, smart, perceptive, educated, skilled, trained. You roll plus sharp to read a person or read a situation. Are you able to really focus? Okay, is this person blinking too much? Are they talking too quickly? Does it seem like the two people at the bar have been looking at me too much? Is the temperature changing? Is there possibly a storm rolling in? You're using your knowledge. You're being sharp. Weird, meaning a weirdo, psychic, genius, uncanny, lucky, strange, prophetic, touched. Roll plus weird when you want to open your brain to the world psychic. If you're just not normal, do you talk to yourself? Are you able to, manipulate people through uncanny means, through just the subtle touch or a whisper? Are you just straight up crazy where, apples are poison to you and you think clouds are the leftover remnants of your family's soul? You're weird. And then history, like prescription or diagnosis, particularly shared history, how well your one character knows another. It doesn't mean how well your character likes the other, just how well you know each other. It's also asymmetrical. My character might know yours very well, like history +2, while yours doesn't know mine at all, like history -1. You roll plus your history when you want to help or interfere with someone. So if you want, go ahead. So Phazon for the Faceless. Yeah, I mean, you'll want to go through and start off with getting an idea. What's my name? What do people call me? What do I look like? When you're going through, you're going to want to pick one set of the stats. So it looks like for Faceless, you're always hard. You always at least get +2 hard. And then it'll be a mixture of whatever other ones you want, depending on the kind of character you have. You get all of the basic moves and all of the classes. We'll go over that in a little bit. We'll take a break from character creation once we get the basic stuff done, go through all of that, and then we can pick our additional moves. But you will also be able to pick 3 of the Faceless moves. So that's on the first sheet.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with that first stat set.
Awesome. Gear. Take a look at it, get an idea of what you want to do. We'll go over that a little bit later as well. And then start filling out your character sheet. Let me know if you have any questions about them. The character sheets should be fairly specific. If you want to change the name, you just hit the edit button. But what you'll want to do is select your class, and then there's a little option that says lock or unlock class. You want to check that once you've selected your class, and that's going to actually change a few behind the scenes aspects of the sheet. You can add in the class moves. You can add in other moves if you want to. For the most part, when you're doing basic moves, you'll be rolling against a certain stat, so you can just roll from there. You will see something called highlighted. Highlighted is a very interesting thing. So at the beginning of the session, anytime in the middle, somebody, including myself, can just say, hey, can we change our highlighted stats? Absolutely. For you, so if you click on it, Phazon, go to the character sheet. So on the top, there's bio and info, character sheet, and attributes and abilities. You want to click on the character sheet option.
All I have is bio and info.
Really? Let's see why that is. Edit. Ah, I see. I forgot to give you the power. And come on, roll 20.
You don't have the power over your own character.
Come on, roll 20. But yeah, so highlighting a stat is giving you something to kind of focus on. So what'll happen is at the very beginning of the session, we'll go around. Someone will highlight one of your stats. Another player character will highlight one stat, and I, as the MC, will highlight a second. Every time that you roll that stat, you get an experience point. So depending, it should be something not to screw somebody over. Like if they're focused on hard, I shouldn't go and say, oh well, we're gonna put in, I don't know, cool. It unless I feel like it's a situation I want to challenge you on. But I also might do some things where I'm like, yeah, you're going to be rolling against hard a lot because you're going into battle. So let's go ahead and put in weird. Let's have you play to some stranger aspects of your character so that we can make our characters more rounded. And again, every time that you roll on your highlighted stat, you will take an XP. Anytime that you have increased your history with someone to +4 or -3, you take a history, or you take 1 XP for that, and you reset to basically +1 or -1, depending on the situation. When that happens, what I'm going to have you guys do is, like, if you've known somebody so well that you're actually going to the next level to, +4 and then back to +1, I'm going to want you guys to share a secret. You will tell that person now, okay, you know me this well, or so well. Here's a little secret. If you get to the point that you're actually losing that knowledge, like you don't know that person as well as you might, it may be something I tell you, tell each other something. It's going to be up to you on if it's a secret, if it's a lie, something. So that'll be something that we go into a little further as well. So we have a Faceless. Spoon, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna be a driver.
A driver. So you're gonna have to think about what kind of vehicle do you have? What kind of vehicles exist in this world? What are we using for fuel? What are the resources that exist around that? All that kind of stuff.
I figure there's probably a lot of fuel. It's not too complicated to make. Running most things on diesel, they can be run with cooking oil. So most vehicles probably diesel at this point. All the other gasoline cars probably. There's probably a few around, but they're rare.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll want to go through, figure out your basic kind of gear, but then you'll also want to go through and pick your car. So you'll be choosing what kind of frame it has, its strength, its look, its weakness, and then battle options. If you want to have any additional speed, handling, so on and so forth. And Hawk, what are you feeling?
I'm feeling a couple of things. I'm just trying to decide which one I feel more. I've got feelings for like 4 different things. So I'm trying to narrow it down.
Yeah, no worries.
No, the water bearer, the show, the Maestro D. Quarantine. I don't know. I'm trying to decide.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got ideas.
Well, I mean, so we have a driver, so it sounds like you're gonna want to be kind of a mobile group.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that changes your thoughts. Again, you can absolutely be a hard holder, a maitre d, or water bearer and be remote, but stuff's always going to be happening at home. And so
Yeah.
if you're not there, who knows?
Exactly.
I don't understand the cars.
Okay. So you're gonna basically.
Well, I mean, I know how to. The sheet has me list power and armor and looks, and then power again. I don't understand what the power is.
Let's take a look at your. Frame, power, armor, looks. It may be a misprint. It's possible. So you'll have your frame, which will be bike, compact, coupe, or semi, whatever, something like that. So you have 4x4. So you'll have the tag of massive equals 2, and then 2 battle options. Then for your strength, you choose 1 or 2, and these will be again more tags of fast, rugged, aggressive, tight, huge, off-road, responsive, uncomplaining, a workhorse, or easily repaired. And so those would go under your.
I think the
tags.
second power is supposed to be weakness instead of power.
It could be.
That's what I'm going to use it for, anyways.
Yeah.
Massive.
Because you'll kind of want to go more on what they have on the actual sheet, where it says frame, speed, handling, armor, massive tags.
1 speed plus 1 filling. Power.
So yeah, while you guys are doing that, let's talk about harm. How do you get hurt in this game? And there's a few ways, but mostly you get shot, stabbed, punched, kicked, get hurt. Depending on the type of weapon that's being used against you, you'll have a certain amount of harm that will be placed against you. Depending on if you have armor, if it's armor piercing, this all changes. And every harm point is going to basically be a check mark on your harm clock. The 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 options. You can't do more than 1. You can't put you can't skip anything. It goes, first harm, put in the 3 slot, second, 6, third, 9. Anything from 9 or below will heal itself slowly. Anything from 9 or above is going to continue to get worse. If you hit the death clock, the 12, you'll have a few options. You'll be able to take a -1 hard. You have the option to die. You may take a new class. It'll be something that we discuss once you actually get to that point. And that is a total of 5 harm that you can take. So it's not a ton. But depending on your armor and the situations, it hopefully will not be dire at all points. There's other types of damage as well. There's psychic harm, there's vehicle harm, there's building harm, there is stun harm, there's all different types of it. And depending on the situation, we'll dive into that if needed.
Lights. Lights.
So yeah, I mean we've got this urban, dusty, dry, abandoned brick and mortar and cement landscape with smaller communities of dense population centered around these watering holes. There's more and more strange and weird stuff the further away you get. Locations. Oceans have been drying up. New land masses have been created with lava constantly erupting. The sky is getting darker and darker with the amount of CO and pollution. They're still driving, which is causing even more pollution to it. So the water is continuing to dry up. It's not a constant resource. It's something that at some point it will all be gone.
Plus one arm. Okay.
So think about what your player your character, how do they fit in this? How do they feel about that? What are their fears? What are their strengths? Do they have anything they are trying to focus on right now? Any kind of goals or missions that they want to move towards?
Oh, I'm collecting cars. Cars or car parts. Anything to keep my babies running.
Yeah, so you've taken over some kind of garage or something, junkyard of sorts.
I found a junkyard with a small garage. Well, big enough for like semis and whatnot, but it's only like a one car. It doesn't have a lift or anything in it, but you can pull in one vehicle and work on it. Alright. Gear and barter. So I get one handy weapon. Is there a place to put weapons, or do I just have to put it in gear?
Probably just gear.
So I'm gonna take a Magnum. Harm. Close. Reload. Loud. Get oddments worth 4 barter. And I think I'm going to be a set of coveralls. With some boots and probably a pair of welding goggles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think loud noises. You have access to a garage. I don't think it's necessarily yours yet. It's something that you might be able to get as your own at some point. It's just something there's someone, a worker that's there. They actually own it. They kind of let you store it. Yeah.
I do like delivery runs or something for them. For use of the garage or whatever. Okay.
So you have anything I can help you with, Hawk? Anything confusing?
I haven't done hex yet.
No, just thinking.
Yeah. Praise.
Oh, I guess I could just put in utility wear instead of coveralls. I could spell this early in the morning.
Looks good, Phazon.
Yeah, that's pretty much kind of the mask I would my character's gonna have. It's basically just like pieces and parts that he's found that he just kind of like meshes it together, though.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be kind of the same for the armor. It's just metal plates and just attaches it to some leather from animal skins and whatnot.
What is
Yeah, I mean,
that?
it really seems the Faceless is kind of the hard ass that reveals no emotion. Everything around it is weak. They cry, they laugh, they smile, they frown, they show stages of emotion, which is for the weak. We give no fucks. We focus on ourselves.
Guess I don't fill that out, and I don't fill that out yet. I'm done. I think I'm done.
All right. Let me pull up the driver real quick. So, Mr. Spoon, tell us a little bit about your driver. What's his name, or her name, or their name?
His name is Ryker Stonewall. And he's about 30 or so. He's been wandering around for a while. He came across a little 4x4 he found. You know, he decided to take a look at it, and turns out he has a knack for fixing it up, and so he's been driving that around, exploring the wastes, and he came across the garage where he really met his first person in a long time. And so he started doing work for him, and then because he did such good work, they allowed him to use his garage, and they gave him this old beat up semi that was sitting out back, and he's just armor plated it and made it going. He's a decent looking guy. No, he's maybe 5'9", but he's well built. All the lifting of the engines and everything he does.
All right, well let's talk about that real quick. So, he came across a 4x4 and was able to fix it up. Like, where does he have that mechanical knowledge from? Is that something that he was taught? Is it just
It's something that just
knew?
came natural to him. He picked up bits and pieces from here and there. You know, somebody's water pump would break down in the town he would visit, and he'd watch the people repair it and be like, yeah, I could probably do that. And he'd tinker on things out when he's out exploring, looking for parts and whatnot, and kind of tear apart old broken down cars. And then eventually he figured he had enough knowledge to fix up something, and he found this old beaten up 4x4 and gave it a shot. And what do you know? He knew what to do.
Well,
whether it's pure luck or skill, then nobody knows.
What does it look like? I mean, how do vehicles look in this day and age? Have key components been changed for the increased kind of dust and salt, or what color is it? Is it all rusted out? Have you?
This 4x4, it's basically just a pipe frame, a roll cage, and there's the engine in the front. These big beefy tires that he found, he slapped on there, and it's kind of rusted, like black paint here, red paint there, just kind of covering up spots. But there's not really much to it. And the semi, he's been throwing, steel plates on it and spikes and whatever, just so he can, in case he ever needs to, he can, Might have to plow through a wall at some point. Well, he's preparing for everything. But it looks pretty much the same, minus the passenger door.
All right. What's the situation with fuel? Like, are there still oil pumps pumping? Is there just a huge reservoir of fuel somewhere that you refill? Do cars not run on, the resources we have now? Have they changed their kind of fuel?
There's still gasoline, but it's getting rarer and rarer as time goes on. It's not that there's only like 3 cars that can be used, but people higher up tend to use them instead of everybody just driving around. Everything else kind of runs on this kind of fuel people just figured out would work with diesel engines. The mixture of a little bit of gas and all kinds of random crap that they decided to pump into a gas tank until something started working. And they just call it the mix. They don't have a specific name for it. Because every car runs on a different mixture.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger the car, the more you have to throw in of one ingredient. Whatever they feel like throwing in an engine.
So we know Riker's, he's about 5'9", pretty strong build, but like what kind of clothes is he wearing? Like go through your actual look.
Well, he's got a hard hat with some welding goggles on. Under the hard hat he's got brown hair. Got these blue eyes that are just kind of dull. You can tell he's been kind of worn down by the wasteland, but he's still sharp. Wearing coveralls with like a greasy gray white t-shirt underneath. Got combat boots on. He found. They're a size too big, but they work. Other than that, he might have a tool belt on.
And what stats did you pick?
I went with the first set, so I went with cool +2, hard -1, hot +1, sharp +1, and weird 0.
All right. And what gear did you go with?
I took a Magnum. Something more used for self-defense in the cab of his vehicle than out and about. Something close range. There's no point in being so far away. If you're gonna fight somebody, you do it face to face.
So the other tags should be fairly relevant. Reload means you'll have to reload, and loud, it's gonna be heard.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so you do start with oddments worth 4 barter. Barter is the amount of cash you have available. The way that all works is depending on your living situation, at the beginning of the session, you will always have to pay 1 barter. That does include this session. So for the very first session, you will need to pay 1 barter. You have the option for future sessions to either pay 1 barter. That's just for standard living. It's not great, it's not horrible, it's just standard. It's kind of dangerous, but at least you're within somewhere. If you want to pay 2 barter, oh man, it's lavish. You are getting full security. You are living in the best situation you possibly can, eating the best food, drinking the best drink, sleeping in the best possible place. It is lavish, it is delightful. If you don't have barter, well, that's bad news. It means you're not eating. It means you're not drinking. It means you're not sleeping. It means bad shit is gonna happen. So again, at the beginning of the session, we will go ahead and mark off one of our barter. You do have the option to work gigs. You won't have one during this first session because, again, that first initial cost is included in kind of the character creation. But gigs are going to be when you have the ability to work for someone. And normally you'll get about 3 barter whenever you do a gig. That can be higher or lower depending on the situation. And depending on what you're going out and doing, you'll basically get more or less at times. And every character should have a gigs location. Let's see where it's located. Or if it's on these sheets.
Not on the sheet. Where do I can find the basic moves?
Let's see, like I know the angel has some kit. Yeah, it's under barter. If you go under the barter option on the left side, at the beginning of the session, spend 1 or 2 hold for your lifestyle, blah blah blah. If you need jingle during the session, tell the MC you'd like to work a gig. The gigs you have available are serve a wealthy NPC as a driver, serve a wealthy NPC as a courier, or you negotiate for a different kind of job. That's something to keep in mind as well.
I just throw all these basic moves on my sheet as well.
If you want to, again, the basic moves are going to be rolling on a specific stat, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Depending on the situation, you'll similar to Dungeon World, it'll be based off of a stat, not the move itself.
All right.
And we'll go over those basic stats and stuff in a little bit. And what moves did you take? It looks like for the driver, you are able to take, what is it, moves. You get all the basic moves and choose 2 driver moves. So which ones did you take?
I took my other car as a tank.
Okay.
Is the semi. And then I took reputation.
All right, so
Eat somebody important. Your call. Roll plus cool. On a hit, they've heard of you and say what they've heard. The MC has them respond accordingly. On a 10 plus, you take +1 forward for dealing with them as well. On a miss, they've heard of you, but the MC decides what they've heard.
okay. And let's see. So my other car is a tank, is you get a specialized battle vehicle. So let's take a look at what that could be. I know you said it's a semi, so let's see what kind of options we have here. That's here we go. Creating a specialized battle vehicle. The driver has a move, my other car is a tank, which gives her a specialized battle vehicle. Create the vehicle as normal and then choose 2 of the other. So you will want to go through the same options you had for your 4x4 and kind of set it up the same way. And then once you're done with that, I'll give you the other options you have, which is pretty much you'll have mounted machine guns, grenade launchers, spikes, 50 cal, whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, let me know when you're done with that. We can go through those options.
Oh, I'm ready.
Awesome. So these are you can choose 2 of the following.
Are those on the advanced?
So this is actually in the book itself. It's on page 77. At the very bottom. On the PDF, page 74 in the actual book. It's at the very bottom of the page. But basically, you can choose 2 of the following. +1 battle option, so you can get a +1 speed, handling, massive, or armor. Mounted machine guns, which have a 3 harm, close or far, area, and messy. A mounted grenade launcher, which is a 4 harm, close, area, and messy. Ram or ramming spikes as a weapon, vehicle inflicts +1 harm. A mounted 50 cal, which is 5 harm, far, area, and messy. Or mounted boarding platform or harness, +1 attempts to board another vehicle from this one.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Well.
2 of those.
So I get +1 battle option, +1 speed, +1 handling, +1 massive, or +1 armor. we're gonna go with.
And again, you choose 2 of any of those. So, wanted 2 weapons, whatever.
I choose
2 of
if
the
I can-
following. Yeah.
if I can do a battle. Okay.
You choose either the battle option, the machine gun, the grenade launcher, the ram, the ramming spikes, the 50 cal, or the boarding platform.
Okay. So we're gonna go with a mounted 50 cal.
Nice.
Now, 5
Where is it
harm.
mounted?
It's got a hatch on top of the semi. You flip open and the MGs.
Oh,
You can
nice.
flip all around.
Nice. Yeah, so
5
you have
harm.
like it's kind of a wide cab, so you have front row, back row seating, and towards the middle of the rear, you just have a quick pop up into the chair, boom,
Yeah.
pop open the hatch, 50 cal rolls out, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go with. What does massive get me? It just means it's just bigger and pushes through things
Massive.
more. Or...
Let me pull up my tags real quick. Tags is on page
'Cause it's already
230.
3 massive. So.
230.
77.
Let's see.
230.
Where is massive?
Slide, brace, close, far, and placed far, hand, hijack. Loud, messy,
Let's see.
reform.
Well, I'll find it eventually. V-harm is attacking the car's massive minus the defending car's handling. So massive is literally size. So
if a
think
bike's
like
trying to attack me, it's not going to do
Yeah.
much because I'm huge. Okay.
exactly,
Cool.
like if it tries to run you off the road, it's not gonna work so well. But let me just check if there's
That's fine by me.
other options here. It's using a vehicle as a weapon. If you run something over, it inflicts 3 harm, armor piercing plus it's massive.
Oof.
Against another vehicle, it's 3 harm plus it's massive minus the target vehicle's massive and armor. When you try to ram or T-bone another vehicle, you inflict the harm of a direct hit, 3 harm plus massive minus your target's armor and massive. Same thing with yeah. So yeah, it's basically the weight you got behind that wheel.
So then we're gonna go with. I'm gonna go with another mounted 50 cal.
You can't double up on the same thing. It has to be 2 different ones.
Oh, lame. What are the mounted machine guns like? Are they just like LMGs type thing?
Oh, let's take a look at that. Battle vehicle. 3 harm, far area, and weapons and armor. Scalpels. find. Yeah, it looks like they're actually unique to battle vehicles. So I would assume like they could be something that's literally you got a trigger in the cab and they're popped on the front and just aircraft style. Um yeah, something like that.
All right, we're gonna do that.
They have like a spraying effect, so again, like I would think aircraft. You got rat-a-tat-tat on the front.
Harm. Close. Oh, yeah, they're just mounted on the front, and I've got triggers on the steering wheel. And, squeeze off a burst of machine gun fire just to ruin anybody's day. There we go.
All right. So whose garage do you use?
Oh, excuse me. Horrible with names.
Well, you have to think. Okay, so this is after the realms where it like makes sense to give people certain names. Like you'll probably come across like a Buick. It's just a dude that saw Buick on the side of the car. Is like, that's a cool name. They might be whatever. There's Pepsi and there's moonshine, and they aren't drinks. They're people that live in the world. So.
It's just gonna be Pitbull.
Pitbull, yeah. And how many jobs have you done for Pitbull?
5 or 6. Run this here, bring such and such back. Like, as long as you keep doing these, I don't have a problem with you using my tools and working on your shit.
And like, what danger is starting to encroach the garage? Like, is there someone trying to take it over? Is there, are there bandits trying to come in and steal all the shit? Is Pitbull getting really, really old, about to die, and the knowledge he has, like, if he dies, no one else will have that kind of knowledge?
I'd say he's getting up there. He might be about 50, but he's really being pushed by the guy who owns the land. Like, he owns the garage, but he doesn't own like all of the land it's sitting on. So the guy who owns the land sending in thugs to, like, hey, give me my payment for my land. He's not behind, but he's a couple days late, and the guy's getting pushy every once in a while. And really starting to rough him up, and because it's not like a, oh, you've been late one day or whatever, but it's like, every month he owes his payment. He's a couple days late, and the guy's getting annoyed at it. Real asshole. I don't know the guy's name. All Pitbull ever says is that son of a bitch.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's Jameson. It's, don't know his first name. Like, you just know, like, the thugs come in. The nickname is like the Jameson boys. Always coming in to mess with shit. Like, yeah, it's just getting increasingly worse. The payment's starting to go up, and I think Jameson may have actually noticed that you've been doing more and more jobs, and so he's like, yeah, more money's coming into this place. I need my share. Like, I'm pulling it out. So in a part, Pitbull could be like, I need Ryker to keep doing these jobs, but on the other side, like, it's hurting me financially. Like, I may end up losing it because I'm making more money, but he's trying to take more money. And you're not actually making him all that money. It's just kind of the illusion that you are. And what weaknesses did you take for your vehicles?
Yeah, character sheet. Hold on. Save changes. Character sheet. The 4x4 is loud and sloppy. Not sure what sloppy means. Let me look. Pop, pop. Or not.
Sloppy.
Here somewhere.
I mean, I would just assume sloppy is what sloppy is. Like it's not easy to control. It's loose. Like this isn't something you might, especially on dirt and mud and all that. It's gonna be a little wiry.
It's gonna slide everywhere and whatnot. And the semi is loud and cramped. Because I have the turret in there, there's hardly any room for more than like 2 or 3 people at most.
Yeah. Awesome.
And of course, it's a semi, so it's loud. It's got these, big pipes coming out the back, and they're full of holes.
And then, what other tags did you take for your car for the 4x4?
It looks powerful, and it's easily repaired and off-road.
Okay. So, in what ways is it easily repaired? Like, have you set it up so that that you have access to key components, just boom, pop in a new part while you're driving, or?
Yeah, because it's so open, I can like if the engine starts acting funny, I can easily see, oh hey, that's come loose or whatnot, and I can just pull over and quickly tie it back up or duct tape it or whatever. And then
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, with it being so open, what are you doing against the dust?
I've got the welding goggles, and I have a little bandana. I just kind of.
What about for the engine?
It's got a little bit of covering in the front just to protect most of the dust, but other than that, it really doesn't have much. I don't get going that fast in either of the vehicles, so
Okay.
it doesn't really kick up a whole lot if I need to.
And it looks like it's good on off-road as well.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, for it being sloppy, maybe it has those good mudding tires, but those tires do really bad on like strong surfaces. Like they're just too loose, and especially on like cement and pavement.
It doesn't do too well on what roads are left.
Yeah.
Anytime I get on a road, I'm starting to skid everywhere if I go over a certain speed, like 5 miles an hour or whatever. So
Awesome. And the semi, what else do you got there?
went with rugged and workhorse.
So you use it a lot?
When I know a run's gonna be dangerous or whatnot, I'll fire it up and use it. If I know I'm going out. Hi Thomas. I go out farther from the city. I'll take the semi, and it's a semi. It's built tough, and it's gonna keep running. It's so massive. It's gonna take whatever it's gonna get and keep going, type thing. But it's it's pretty much all black, and it's got like spikes and plates all over it, which is powerful, and spikes and plates for looks.
Sweet. All right. Cool. I'm just checking out your sheet here. Got all that. All right. Awesome. We'll take a look over your history. Start thinking of some ideas there, and we'll come back to that later. So, Phazon, how's the Faceless going?
I think I'm pretty well done with it.
Okay. Sweet. Well, introduce us. Who are they? Name, look, all that jazz.
Well, as far as the name goes, it's basically nobody really knows my real name. I'm just referred to as Kinmotus.
Why you gotta have all these weird names? Why can't it be just like Tom?
Kimotos.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call you Tom.
And where is that name from? Like, is that just something you picked up? The name of a brand? Is that from a specific region?
I basically it was the only um, readable word in a book that I had found in an old like blown out library. Like it was the only legible word in the entire thing. So it's like I like that. I'll go with that. And that was when I was a little bit I was hitting that growth spurt in my life where I became this just huge like tall muscular dude.
Awesome. So yeah, you're tall, you're muscular. You look like a, you know, basketball player kind of body type, or not quite that tall?
Yeah. Um that kind of tall but and that kind of muscular, I guess. But just hard brown eyes, and the armor that I took is +2, and it's just basically I'll find scraps of metal and kind of bend them into basically not a medieval armor set, but kind of like a homemade one.
Yeah, do you have that across your whole body? Do you just have that like a chest piece? You know, something.
It's mostly just a chest piece, and then like a couple of little ones on the backs of my arms, and then like the fronts of my legs.
And do they just look like plain metal, or do you anything like to paint them, color them, anything like that?
Don't really come across a lot of paint,
Mm-hmm.
so it's more just like the scars of battle are the paint.
Tell us about your mask.
Um, it's basically just like rabbit pelts, but I took and cleaned them down to just the leather, and then um, it's just covering like my nose down with a strap around the back, and I also took and put little pieces of metal. It's usually like bottle caps and just kind of anything that I can find that I can pound out into the small light pieces to kind of help protect it a little bit. It's very homemade because I tend to stay more towards the outskirts of town, but not like in a rebel camp or anything. Just like I'm on the very edge, and nobody really goes over there because they're so scared of me.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So, in addition to your mask, you get a brutal weapon. What is it?
I found um, a really nice axe.
Mm-hmm. We talking like a hatchet, a full fireman's axe, like a
Yeah,
lumber.
it's a full fireman's
Yeah.
axe, and it was actually quite um, well kept because it was in one of those glass cases and in a room somewhere, so it didn't really get touched by a lot of stuff because it was so hard to get into that area that nobody was able to get in there for such a long time, and it was so pristine almost that I've just been um, taking very good care of it ever since.
Awesome.
It's the most colorful thing I have.
Yeah. And let's see. So it looks like that's 3 harm, hand, and messy.
Yep.
All right. So for your moves, you get all basic moves. It does advise you to look into seize by force and single combat. Those are specific things we'll go over in a little bit. But you also get 2 choose 3 of your Faceless moves. Which ones did you pick?
I took the Rasputin,
Mhm.
Beastly, and Juggernaut. In that order, it's basically +1 armor, +1 hard, and then -2 on harm rolls.
Awesome.
I think from how I'm reading that is like if I roll a 2 harm, it's just 0.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Pretty much, what you'll be doing is, unless it's armor piercing, anytime that you have harm, it would be -2 minus your armor, and then that would be your roll. The harm rolls is one of these weird opposites. You'll roll pretty much roll plus harm minus armor and modifiers, and your goal is to miss that roll. You don't want to hit on the harm roll. You want to get a 1 to 6 on it. So, one of those weird ones. And even if there are things, if you're not taking direct damage, you could be knocked out of the situation, lose something. Other things can occur, so that even though you're not taking actual harm, you're still being affected in some way. But yeah, and then you have Rasputin, shot, stabbed, and poisoned. You just keep coming. When you're being scary as fuck and coming at someone, you get +1 armor. You still get shot and stabbed. Bleeding just doesn't bother you that much anymore. So, yeah, you're just an emotionless badass. Tell us about that. Like, a little bit. What is your social life?
Pretty well next to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of keep to myself and keep perfecting my armor. Like the one of the big reasons nobody really comes over to that side of town is they just hear a lot of loud clanking, and there's just this huge roar from. It's basically like a homemade furnace that I just pump air into to actually be able to work on the things that I do. And the furnace is literally just like a big pile of bricks that I'll make into the size that I need to actually work on whatever piece that I'm currently working on.
Awesome. So the workspaces that you guys are describing, they are something that you will get access to at some point. And so right now you kind of have enough to get by with what you have now, but at some point you may actually get more equipment, maybe get someone more knowledgeable in the craft to turn your area into an actual workspace where you can start production on armor, weapons, all that kind of stuff. And same thing with the garage. Right now it's not really yours, so while you're able to do basic things, you won't have any specific moves or anything that moving forward. But there are definitely paths to get to that point.
Yeah.
All right. And so, like, what is your biggest hatred right now?
Just kind of in general.
Yeah, I mean, so Kinmotus, like, he doesn't show emotion much, but there's just something, someone, somewhere that it gets to them. Just hates it so much.
Mostly like theft. When as just outside of like where I kind of have set up my residence, there's a pretty good trade route that comes by there, and the bandits from out of town will come and uh, attack the people trying to move stuff. And well, I don't really take kindly to that. That's one of the like gigs that I get quite often is kind of protecting the people that go through there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much like a hired gig as like I just come out and save their ass, and so they give me something in return.
Yeah. You recently got something from these bandits that is kind of like your trophy, but some other people might consider it like disturbing, grotesque. What is it, and how are you having it displayed at your home?
I was a pretty notable bandit. He had um, a necklace with people's fingers from it, and so I kind of just put that outside the entrance of my house, so that way they know that, like, hey, I killed this guy. You don't want to mess with me.
Yeah, did you kill that guy, or did you just get the necklace like through another way?
Yeah, no, he died in the process. A lot of his gang members got away though,
Mhm.
because as soon as they saw him fall, they all just kind of took off. He was tired of not getting raids accomplished, so he actually came out one day, and that was his downfall.
And what's the area like that you've been doing these kind of attacks? Like, is it a kind of a wide open space? Is it really closed corridors? Are you fighting in alleys of like a back street? What the situation look like?
Yeah, it's on it's more of like a suburban area. It's not that close to like the main groups of people, but there's a really nice open road with not a lot of trash on it, and I kind of am on the outskirts over there. So it's basically just a suburban area, mostly open because a lot of the houses are actually more rubble piles than anything, but still plenty of cover.
Sweet, sweet. All right. So let's just take one other look here. What stats did you pick for Moto?
One on cool, up to 3 on hard with the skill. So it was originally a 2. -1 hot, +1 sharp, 0 weird.
I'll be right back.
All right. Awesome. We'll go ahead and take a look at your history as well, and get an idea basically on what you'll be asking. So last but not least, Mr. Hawk, what have you decided on?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Well, here's the situation. We have a driver, so we're able to be mobile. We have a melee combat badass that shows very little emotion, but is willing to do the good thing. So you find yourself being, well, these guys are doing that, but I'm in charge of other things. They might be good, but I'm more focused on being not so good. Are you weird, strange, creepy, awesome, badass?
We're working on all these things.
Mm-hmm. Like, let's think about the place that we're in, right? So we know that we're in some kind of suburban area. It has some roadways, but it doesn't have a lot of living quarters. We have a garage, and we have merchants that are clearly going in and out. We know that there is someone that owns land called Jameson, and he has, his group of guys that goes out and extracts payment. There's some kind of rental agreement here. Let's talk about that real quick. What is currency right now? What are people paying with?
Good question.
I would think like bullets and water and food and Kind of a barter system.
Well, I mean, water and food, is that something that there's going to be enough of for it to be a currency that can be moved around? I don't think
I
it
don't know.
is. I mean, you're going to have few and far between. Like, there may only be 4 places in the world that have access to clean water, and the rest of it has to be transported from here to there. You know, there might be segments of military that is their only job, is to transport these very large, secure water tankers, you know, around the world to refuel these smaller communities. So I mean, is currency simply something that is discarded? Like it's not useful in what it is itself. It's only useful to be currency. It's not something that can be used in any other way but being used to pay for something.
We could go the Fallout route and just do bottle caps.
We could, but I mean, let's do our own thing. Let's think
Well,
along that line.
I was about to say, but I think Phazon kind of excluded bottle caps right there because he uses them as part of crafting. So they don't really
That's
work
why I
as.
did it.
Because I mean, even things like ammunition, is there really still a place that's making bullets and still making ammunition? Or is there a limited supply? Like, yeah, you have bullets for now, but if you spray and pray all day, every day, eventually they're going to run out, and there's not going to be a resupply.
Well, I make my own bullets most of the time, unless it's for like the big gun on top of the semi.
You don't, though. You don't, because you don't have a workspace to be able to make bullets.
I can pack pistol rounds. That's no big deal.
You may be able to at some point, but right now, as of where your current situation, you're buying stuff. Don't worry. At some point, you gotta, if you want that access. I mean, doing things like the savvy head, you know, the hard holder, it gives you access to have that kind of stuff. But I mean, being a driver, you know how to work on cars. You don't know how to do stuff with guns and bullets and all that.
I kind of think ammo would be a very good resource for trading. It's not necessarily just a set, like, here's
Is it a certain kind?
currency and what it's worth. It's more like, hey, what do you got that I want?
Well, maybe it's more like a almost like the old rum routes where you starts as this, this area produces this, so they can trade it as barter to here, and then this area can trade things as barter to here. And I mean, I'm not trying to make it complex. I'm just trying to say that, maybe the particular area we're in, ammunition is the primary currency.
Yeah, so there's like a place in our area that can still make ammo, but then there's the 50 miles away there's another place that is really good at making metallic weapons, or they are the ones that actually have a granary, so they're making the breads and all that. Or is there maybe a mass amount of a certain kind of caliber of ammo that, the old world needed to have, but it's useless now? It can't be used in any of the current guns. Or maybe it was like advanced technology for the time, but again, we don't have any guns that match that kind of bullet
Laser cartridges
anymore.
Little 22 rounds.
Yeah, something like that. Because I mean, when it comes to ammo, I don't know if you're
technology, because a 22 round you could still fire it off now in any kind of world. So I think it'd have to be something advanced where we cannot physically make the weapon to use that ammo.
Why are we even using ammo? that what we've decided on as ammo?
Well, no, I mean, it could be anything along that line. Again, I think it's easier if we keep currency separate from something we can actually use, because that way we're not really mixing. Well, I could shoot this, but is this really part of my barter? Like, it can be kept separate so we know, okay, we got bullets for here and that for there, and everything else is A-okay. Or maybe
think,
it is just junk. Like, there are people that will buy scrap metal and people that will buy old photographs that you find, and they'll buy the old books that you find, like old tech itself, old historical items are the currency. You find yourself a baseball that's worth 1 barter, but you find yourself, a baseball bat, a glove, and a full uniform. That itself could be put up somewhere, and that's worth 4 barter.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think I personally am of the opinion that it's just maybe it's predominantly junk, but I mean, in any town that you go to, maybe they have their own currency system.
Yeah.
Their own chits. I mean, you like walk in, you trade to, you bring your barter goods, you barter them off, you get the town's
icon, whatever it is, the
whatever it is, and that
stones.
itself really only works within the town. And then you either have to decide to keep this, which is only useful in this area, or they have like a barter exchange where you can pay, of course, at a loss, the thing back and get barterable goods for the next location.
Yeah, I like that, because I mean, different locations are going to have a use for other things. There may be a specific town that is trying to focus on getting books and all of that, so that books might be a little bit more worthwhile, while as more of the smaller communities, things like old melee weapons and old clothing could be more useful.
Plus, it turns us all into pack rats.
Well, and I also think, like, if you want to get good money, you have to go into the weird. Like, you have to get away from society, which most people aren't gonna do. Like, they know weird shit happens if you get away from water. There's just bad stuff out there. And so only those that are either insane themselves or feel like they're, we're badass, it doesn't matter, really go out into the weird and get the good resources that are still out there, because everything close has been picked through. Like, it's nothing but rubble and literally junk that is not valuable in any way. All right.
That sounds good.
Was that roll 20 that made that sound?
Yeah. Hawk's rolling for something behind the scenes.
I think he's rolling to pick his class.
Could be.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I am.
Well, what'd you end up with there, champ?
Well, depending on which way you count from, whether you're counting from the bottom or the top, because that's the problem when you have a odd number. I am either looking at a Maestro D or a Gunlugger.
Okay.
What I see, gunluggers are the simple, I'm a badass, I'll shoot you type thing.
Pretty much. Yeah, you got... The Gunlugger is, I have every gun I could possibly want. I am going to just be a pure badass. Maestro D is, what's that chick in Borderlands that runs the bar?
Oh, Mad
Moxie.
Moxie. It's that. You're still pretty badass. Like, nobody's gonna fuck with you, but you can provide pleasure. Like, you're kind of everybody's friend. You got a decent amount of income coming in. You got a little bit of security. A little bit of superior power. And doesn't it put you in charge of the town, but it does put you in charge of your own little section of the town?
You could buy my garage.
If I was gonna do that, I'd just gone savvy head and named myself Pitbull.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. You want to do that? That's fine.
Damn,
Hell,
youngins.
You could be a heart holder and be Jameson.
Nah, that sounds like an asshole move.
I don't care. That's all part of the game.
And that's the thing, you all know each other. Doesn't mean you're necessarily friends. Like,
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
work together because you're the only ones that really will go out and work together, and you've done a few things together, but at the end of the day, I
Like
am
this
my
guy
own
with the
man.
mask. He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
I wouldn't work with him if I didn't have to. And it's
If
really
I
up
want to work
you,
with
Hawk.
you, you're gonna work with me.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, champ.
Well, no, when you got somebody that's standing 2 foot taller than you, you're gonna be nice to them.
Yeah, but I'll just put my revolver to your chin and, kind of evens the playing field. That or I'll just run you over one day when you're not looking.
Oh, ba-dum.
You're undecided. Roll a die.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best way to solve everything. The Maestro D seems like a really cool class. And again, the Gunlugger seems really useful for just about everything.
Yeah. Either one. Well, how about this? Let's take a quick 5-minute break, get some water and stuff, give Hawk a little bit more time to think about it. So when we come back, we'll do his class. We will go through history together, and we'll just roll out and do a little session, see what we do for the day. So
How
give
much
Hawk
more
a little
time
bit
do
more
we have?
time. All right, so 5 minutes, and we'll be back.